Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Eden Zero Chapter 65. Before we go any further, I just want to let y'all know I have a pretty bad sore throat, so I'm going to power through this, but I do have my water bottle here, so there will be a fair number of breaks during the video so I can not feel like I'm dying. Anyway, when we last left our heroes, Rebecca versus Nino happened, and it was great. We finally saw some relevance of the, what, in my opinion, really bland Mildian arc. Rebecca has a new power with her Ether Gear Leaper that was heavily foreshadowed all through the Spa of Eden scenes. And yeah, she beat Nino. And that's kind of where we left off, with her power. And Jaume makes a mention that Leaper may somehow save the universe, which I'm assuming is implying to that weird, like, time reversal power she has, right? When, like, because she's initially punched by the arm, and then she feels time go backwards. So maybe that's related somehow. I don't know. Anyway, let's jump right on into Chapter 65. The swordswoman incapacitated. I mean, our picture here is of Pino drawing pictures of the crew of the Eden Zero. Yeah, so it's a cute little child's drawing. We open on Homura, who is not moved from Valkyrie's, not grave, but, you know, the monument of Valkyrie's body. Presumably she is our swordswoman incapacitated. And there's this kind of, like, noise coming. Like, rat-a-tat-tat-tat and pow-pow-pow, probably as Shiki's fights. And she jerks up these sounds, and she looks down the street, and she sees these big explosions. Battle? Maybe that's not Shiki. Maybe it's actually the what's their name? The other slums people, who are just, like, fighting against, who are they fighting against? Are they, like, does she have soldiers, or is it just, like, Garrett, or whatever his name was? I don't remember. Anyway, she looks at Valkyrie, and she stands up. I cannot sit here moping into eternity. She flashes back to Shiki's, I know you can move on, too. And Rebecca's, I'm sure your feelings will reach her. I must stand and move on. And she stands up and immediately falls over. Huh? I cannot move. My body has no strength. Oh, yep, here's my prediction from weeks ago. Homura's fight is going to be Garrett. I was really hoping that Homura's big fight would be against Kurenai, because that's kind of what she deserves. You know, it'd be like if Natsu had taken out Irene instead of Urza and Wendy. Anyway, one sec. Well, you did take quite a beating from my whip. Your body's packed full of fast and slow-acting paralyzants. Also, I'm hoping, because when Garrett last showed up, we saw Eden Zero's really annoying penchant for creepy BDSM play that we've seen with both Oliga and Kurenai herself. And I'm hoping Garrett's not going to draw us right back into that. And yeah, the whip cracks right in front of her. You! And she flashes back to her getting beat up by Garrett back when she still had the collar. The slow-acting drugs are finally starting to kick in. You won't be moving anytime soon. And, Garrett walks in front of her. Anyway, who'd have thunk it? You, Madame Kurenai's daughter? When I squint, I can see a resemblance. So, what's the deal with you and Valkyrie? And he, like, leans his arm over on top of Valkyrie's head. Do not touch my mentor! Mentor, eh? And he grabs, like, Valkyrie by the cheek. She was a fine woman. Get away from her! Valkyrie's remains here are basically a symbol of your whole rebellion. As the warden, I could have gotten rid of her, but I didn't. Because, well, I have some respect for her. She was special. And he, like, licks Valkyrie's face because Eden Zero sure does love its trying to find the word here. 100% sex-obsessed villains, I guess? Which is, it's kind of a, like, I know, you know, Mashima, especially during Fairy Tail, was, you know, lambasted for overly fan serviceness. I don't know. But this is something really different than the kind of, like, the thing we see with the Liga and with Garrett and with Kurenai is really different than, like, you know, the boob grabs that would happen in Fairy, like, the act like Natsu lands on Lucy's boobs or something. Like, the closest thing I can think of is Urza's torture during the Tartarus arc, but even that was, like, one time, you know, it was kind of, I don't know, it felt like less, it was less, oh, Mashima just really, like, my thought here is that Mashima has developed the BDSM kink, sometime over the course of Fairy Tail, and now he has a new series, and he's just kind of letting it all out. Anyway, let's get back to the story itself. So Garrett's licked Valkyrie, and Homura glares at him. You! If I could have, I'd have broken her personally. And this time he whips Valkyrie's head. Do not touch her again! And he whips her again, and knocks her head off. And Homura looks in, like, utter shock, and Garrett laughs. And we see just, like, full-on rage from Homura. And her head, like, bounces off the ground. Make that face all you want. You still can't move. You're gonna lie there while I do whatever I want. Don't break too easily, okay? Show me a good time. See, like, just like with the Liga, you know, we're seeing a constant use of, like, the threat of rape to, you know, I feel artificially hiding up the tension. Like, to me, it just kind of seems like, a shorthand way to seem darker than, you know, it would otherwise be. But darker doesn't make things better. And I don't think the story is serviced by having, we didn't really see Kurenai, you know, threaten to rape anyone, even with her little, I think her boy toy we saw a while back was it wasn't this. It wasn't this. Whereas both Aliga and now Garrett, I'm still pretty sure that's his name, but again, I do not remember. Their, like, whole thing is, you know, constantly mentioning they can rape all the women they encounter. And it's kind of tired, you know? Like, we've seen that in so many different narratives. But anyway, back to the actual story itself. So Homura activates her ether gear, and has that always been her power? I mean, I get it. It's a clear, like, enhanced version of her normal power. Because what she's done here, while she can't move, she's, like, manifested all of these ether blades above her, pointing straight at Garrett. Wah! And the ether, I can't tell if they've started moving yet, but there's a whole hell of a lot of them. What the? How could she make so many swords? My ultimate secret technique. Odin's strike! And now they all go at Garrett. Gah! You little! And he, like, flings his whip to try to defend himself. And now runs at Homura. Damn these ether gears. They're a force to be reckoned with. But he goes and he grabs Homura's arms. But I know their weakness. I just have to tie you up. Make sure you can't use your arms. Actually, there's a question, because she's supposed to still be paralyzed, right? I'm trying to see what position her arms were in earlier. Let me see. It looks like they're behind her when she first falls over. So I guess she's, like, moved her arms up, and that's how she's controlling her ether gear. I don't know. The way motion controls ether gear is still kind of vague, I think. But anyway, where was I? Back to the chapter, back to the page I was at. Anyway, so she's tied up now. The ether swords all poof away. Haha, that's what you get. All your swords are gone, and you can't make new ones. And he, like, drives her head into the ground. I like this look on you. The daughter of Madame Kurenai, and I get to break her. It's too much. It's so incredibly awesome, I can't take it. And Homura continues talking. A scoundrel like you deserves judgment by my mentor's sword. Ah? And he looks over at Valkyrie. Valkyrie's sword! Valkyrie's sword is gone! And yeah, she's like, the sword is no longer there. When did... Don't tell me she made all those swords just so she could knock Valkyrie's sword away. And we see that one of the swords like hit Valkyrie's blade and went flying up in the air. Knock it away. But where? And way above them we see the sword come down and like skewer Garrett. Okay. That's not how I was expecting this to go. And he's like screams. I'm not gonna scream because again my voice is my throat is not in a good place today. Teacher, I needed you to rescue me again. And we see that Garrett has like fallen over. He's got to be dead with that one, right? Homura, you okay? Rebecca and Wise have now showed up, and Wise looks shocked at seeing Valkyrie, decapitated. Damage to Miss Valkyrie's head confirmed. It's Pino. Let's put it back on. Happy is like just kind of basic, kind of simple plans. Rebecca and Wise as well. Would you untie me? Whoa! And Rebecca notices Garrett, who is still alive. He's still kind of like, How did you beat him when you're tied up like this? Thanks to my mentor. No, not her alone. And she's like now able to like kind of get up to her to a sitting position. Shiki, Rebecca, I have your words to thank. It is because I had all of my friends that I was able to stand and move on. Now I can continue to move on because I have all of you. And that is the end of chapter 65. Alright, so this is kind of, it's the last of the three Punishers. I'm kind of shocked at how short this fight was. I don't know. I liked how it ended. I liked, Homura, having her secret ultimate technique as a distraction. Even if, like, it's kind of, she predicted exactly where, I mean, maybe she could assume that, like, after she did the attack, Garrett would come and, like, tie her up, because that's how the ether gear works. But it still is, like, some incredible, like, on-the-spot trajectory work, just to, like, make that work, but whatever, that's a minor thing. My problems with Garrett's constant threat of raping everyone he sees have already been documented throughout the past 13 minutes of this video, so I'm not going to go into them again, because I think you all know them at this point. Not a fan. But Garrett's done. For good, I hope. Which means I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen next. Back to the review part. The resolution of the fight was great. I did love, like, the shot of, him realizing his mistake, and then just, like, skewering him straight through the chest. What an image. Like, that's thumbnail right there. Already, I could tell you that much. Anyway, what this means for the rest of I'm trying to figure out, like, what this means for the rest of the arc. Because I feel like, we know Draken is coming, which is a great way to have Shiki do something else besides be the one to fight Kurenai. Because I do think Homura should still be the one to fight Kurenai. That's her mom. It kind of feels like Mashima's chance to make good on the Irene-Urza scenario that didn't really track as well in Fairy Tail, but still could really work here in Eden Zero, given what we saw of her, of Kurenai in Valkyrie's flashback. But, we'll see if... So my big hope is that Draken will show up, Shiki will try to, like... Draken will still be just as much of a dick as Kurenai, so Shiki will try to fight him, leaving Kurenai up to fight Homura, which should be the big... I don't think Shiki's going to beat Draken this arc. That's dumb. He's been built up as the big bad. He's not going to go out this early. But I do think that Kurenai should be done in by Homura. That's the best... From a writing standpoint, that's the best choice, I think. But yeah, this chapter was fine. I really like the ending. I don't like Garrett, so I'm glad that Garrett's gone. It's kind of a pros and cons thing there. But I'm gonna leave this video off here. Hope you all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or do whatever makes you happy, And remember, your life is your own, okay? Bye.